So Tesla skyrocketed this week, Paul. Mo was texting me. Our dear friend Mo, the stock analyst expert. Is that what you are, kind of?
Yeah, to the moon.
Mo texted me, said go Geo, because Geo has his one whole stock. And I hit him with the news that he made $50 in one day, which to a 9-year-old really blew his mind.
It's funny that I completely correlate Tesla's stock with a 9-year-old boy.
Mo was at my house last night. We were talking about what to do with some of my money. But you just pulled up this article today, Mo, and tell me what you just found out, because this is interesting.
It says Tesla filing shows U.S. third quarter sales dropped 39%. I believe Paul's reading it right now.
So it says
he can
this.
say more.
This comes just maybe
A week after reporting.
A week after reporting that their third quarter sales was.
So they're saying earlier this month, Tesla said its revenue fell nearly 8% to $6.3 billion for the quarter. But now it's being said that no, it actually fell 39%.
Why did the stock shoot up last week? What did they tell us?
Because of that, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So what they're saying right now is this was all a lie.
basically.
It was all fake news.
Basically.
There has to be something not right about that, right?
Or it's just Elon finally,
Or he's
lying.
they lied, they cooked their books, and they just got figured out right now.
No.
And it's a regulatory filing. So that's the thing. It wouldn't be a cooked book. So wait a second. Did they announce official revenue last? Was that the official revenue number?
Yeah, they announced their top and bottom line. Earnings per share and revenue.
I'm perplexed right now.
I don't understand that at all.
So
I don't see
folks,
how you
for
can
everybody
miss by
listening out there-
31%.
Go ahead,
For
Paul.
everybody missing out there,
Paul, talk at the top.
if you say that one more freaking time,
There you go. You sound beautiful now.
I remember my first podcast.
we're 100 in, so shut the fuck up.
You
Mo.
said that to me on the last one. So
What's that?
you said I was talking like this.
Oh
And
yeah.
you go, I remember my first podcast.
It's today. Keep going, Paul.
So companies announce earnings, they announce profit, revenue, all that stuff. And then their stock changes because of it, right? All these short-term people care about that stuff, unlike me. But now what this is saying is that Tesla essentially lied or misled. I mean, what else is this?
I think
Because
that's a better
it's an SEC filing, so it's not like they knew that. It's not like they didn't know it would have come out.
Right.
I'm really confused.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look more into this. My friend just sent me this article.
Well, I'm looking
I
on
haven't had a
Twitter,
chance.
which is like the quick response, right?
Mhm.
And
Always right.
there's not a word on it. Oh, wait, here. One daily.
It was just reported by Reuters.
Tesla file shows U.S. third quarter
20 minutes
sales
ago.
dropped by 39%.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So,
Well, I have one out back, and it seems to still work. So I'm happy.
looks like they're not going to be a company for much longer.
Well,
I don't agree with that. But
I don't agree with that either.
well, we wanted to ask Paul. Remember, so folks, I remember if you go back in our podcast history, I bought Amazon many years ago, and it ended up being a large portion of my retirement. So I sold it one day with help from Paul, just some guidance, because I wasn't really loving the swings and how it was affecting my long-term savings. So I had a bunch of cash sitting around, like you, Paul. It's Paul, right?
yes, I'm looking for this Tesla stuff still. This is like really
I
occupying
won't
my
switch,
brain.
Sin. I won't switch.
No,
What do you-
keep going. I just
What
want
are
to
you
keep.
thinking?
I'm just.
Baffled.
It's only down 3% right now. If it really was a lie,
It would be down hardcore.
I'd like 50%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they basically sat there and said like we're down. We lied.
What's the saying? Buy the spike? Is that what you're supposed to do?
By
By
the
the
dip.
ru-
By the
by
dip.
the dip.
I know.
That's the thing. I'm like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying that Tesla's lying, but there's got to be an explanation for it, especially considering the stock's only down 3%. And the other thing is, if I type in Tesla news on Google, it's not popping up. This is not occurring.
Why is this the only story? It's from Reuters. There's a video along with it. Some guy's talking about it on Bloomberg.
Okay.
But you would think that when I type in Tesla and everything would just be
Yes, everything would be
miss,
that.
miss,
Share
fake
that,
news.
share that video with me. Can you text it to me?
Yeah.
Are you going to play it on the
Yeah, we can listen
good
to
old
what they're saying.
good old cast?
Make some sense of it.
Okay, so what's going on with your cash? So you met with Mo last night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you text it to me?
I did.
Here it is. Let's see what this guy's saying.
All right. Nope. That's not the. Is that the article? That's not the article. That's not the
That's
video.
the article.
Where's
It's
the
not?
video? No.
Oh, yeah, there's a video.
It goes with the article.
Hmm.
Well, it's not going.
Yeah, it's not going on my end.
Time out.
Timeout, he says. Sent me the same thing.
It's at the top.
Yeah, he's at the top.
Oh, you don't have the app.
Oh,
Do you have the app?
No.
It's playing in the app. It's not playing on the other thing.
Oh my gosh. Well, so yeah, Mo, what were we talking about last night that you were dying to get a hold of Paul?
The question that I wanted to ask Paul, because you explain it way better than I do. How do these companies, when they're reporting their earnings, how can they make them sound better than they are?
So you mean in terms of ask me more specifically what you mean by that.
So when you have a company that's reporting its revenues and its top line and bottom line, there are ways for them to make it sound better than it is, correct?
When you say make it sound better than it is, take the data and explain it a different way, or change the data?
Change the data.
Okay, so
you told me once before that they put money in different places to make it.
So, for example, inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Inventory is an easy manipulation on financial statements. Because who's really analyzing inventory? You can sit there and say, hey, we're going to change from LIFO to FIFO. They can change things from here to there. They can expense things. There are manipulations they can do. Every company can do for their work in process. All these things that can change the bottom line number to hit the revenue goals and the profit goals they have for every quarter. Do I say everybody does this? No. However, it's a very common thing. I'm not calling it income smoothing necessarily. Maybe it is income smoothing, where you're basically going to account for things at different. If you have a really good quarter, maybe you hedge a little bit and put a little bit more to inventory or whatever it is, or maybe take a little bit more out of inventory. That way later on, you can report more profit when you need it. I mean, isn't it weird that companies always hit, the expected number or beat by a penny?
They beat by a penny or they beat by, and that's when I asked you one time, how do these guys just beat by 1 penny every time?
Or if you're a really good guider, like if you guide very well, if you're sitting there and telling people, then you're going to hit that number. But that's what I tell people when they say, when people look at stocks, they go, listen, don't, and they're like, oh, analysts say, I'm like, first off, don't ever listen to an analyst ever. If you're listening to an analyst for your investment advice, you're an idiot.
I remember that when I asked you about analysts one time, you said they're functioning retards. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word, but
he's not allowed to say that word.
Here we go.
He's certainly permitted. However, the social repercussions.
Listen, again, this was 2000, but you had all these internet companies coming out and people were trading analyst ratings for acceptance into schools. And of course, every business has its shady people, et cetera. But why would an analyst who's fresh out of school be the person you're listening to on whether you should buy a stock or not? Do your own evaluation. Cash flow and net income over the long haul should equal itself out. If you're looking at companies from a long perspective, that's why, by the way, I'm very anti quarter to quarter earnings. I hate the fact that every company lives and dies by the quarter.
Yeah.
When Dell went private a few years ago, part of the reason was we were sick of having to report every quarter, and every quarter ended, and the next day it's how do we hit the numbers for this quarter,
right?
As opposed to investing for the long run. Because how do you explain to investors, hey, we're going to make $2 billion this quarter, but we're going to take $1 billion of it and invest it in the future. Well, that means you only made $1 billion.
And now it's always the forward-looking statements in the next quarter, speculation, this and that, and that's really what's
and it's just
driving
not real
things
business
right now. No,
I mean,
it's not.
Look at us here. We don't operate on the quarter to quarter. I don't remember the last time I get my quarterly reports, but we get them stripping out our reinvestment. Because I want to sit there and say, listen, reinvestment's reinvestment. If we're, for example, when we buy a property, I don't care if we put $1 million in the property if it made the property worth $2 million more. But when you have a publicly traded company, they can't do that. They can't sit there and say, we're investing $1 billion today. They can. They choose not to. Why? Because the public wants them to hit their numbers every stupid quarter. Now, Tesla is a little bit different because Tesla's still losing money, and they need to explain how they're going to get to profitability. And Elon has been talking about being profitable every quarter. He said that a year and a half ago he'd be profitable. We will be cash flow positive from here on out.
That was the end of Q3 of 18,
right?
And has it happened since?
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times. I think they've made some money, but the whole point is
it's not consistent.
Yeah, it's not what he said it was.
Right.
And these are the things that you have to sit there and that's why I like Warren Buffett so much. He's just like, listen, we don't care. And that's what I said. I don't care, what the profit is. I do care what the profit. Here's the thing. I care about the profit. But if we lose profit because we're investing in the future, I don't care. If the prospect for that future is much higher and a great return on investment, right?
If there's a good reason for it.
Yes. It's just like buying a piece of real estate. if we're going to lose $1 million in cash because we're making the property worth $2 or $3 million more, you should not care because you're increasing your ability to make cash on that $1 million. So you're getting a 20 or 30% return on your money. Why would you ever care? You shouldn't. Right. Same thing here, Seth.
Mo, you were alarmed because last week you said the Treasury put out some money you were telling me about.
Well, they're always doing that. But last Tuesday, I believe it was, they pumped in $107 billion into the market, into the big banks. Stimulus, and I mean they're always doing this just to prop up the market.
I knew you get that reaction, Paul. What is it?
It's fraudulent,
and that's fraudulent.
That's what's holding the market up right now. Between that and cutting interest rates, which they're probably going to do tomorrow.
Yeah, they're talking about doing it again.
They're going to do it tomorrow.
People, I want you everybody to remember that when you cut interest rates, it's because you're worried about the economy.
Exactly.
So when people sit there and say, oh, the economy is so good, I'm like, then why are we cutting rates?
Not only is it so good, you know that I support the president. I like Trump. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. You either have the best economy in the history of the world or you don't. And if you do, which he's saying you do, jobs, this, that, then you don't cut interest rates. Interest rates are to ease problems that are happening. If we are not having problems, allegedly, why are we cutting the rates?
We should be increasing rates.
Absolutely.
With unemployment rate so low, it's a fast growing economy. I shouldn't say that. Because I think they reported 1.8%, or it wasn't a great number. When people tell me like we have a great economy, I'm like, listen, based on what? Mm-hmm. Yes, based on unemployment rates, sure, and they are lowering interest rates, but you can't, again, like Mo said, lowering interest rates is for a bad economy. Think about why, folks.
Tell me about it, because all I recall when being young is all of my folks and their Democratic friends complaining how Reagan pumped mortgage rates up to 18-19%, and that was just like always a bad. You see it in movies still.
We had amazing hyperinflation. What's inflation? Inflation is caused by people spending too much money. Essentially, costs are getting out of control. So what you do is you increase rates, so it makes it harder to borrow, makes it harder to spend money. When you're not spending money, costs stay down. Now, granted, that was an anomaly then on that one too. They raised rates during a bad time because of hyperinflation. We don't have inflation issues, so part of the other reason to decrease rates is to bump inflation up. But again, inflation and interest rates you increase interest rates when you want to slow the economy down because it decreases spending, which keeps inflation tame. All these things work together. I mean, did Reagan hyperinflate? I don't like the fact that Reagan spent so much money, but at the same token, he also cut taxes and blah, 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 blah. It maybe started this whole fiasco of our debt. But what was it? What was the original thing I was talking about? I
Sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay.
We were talking about the rates and raising them and what it does. I have a hard time, and Mo and I were talking about this last night. I have a hard time understanding,
well, if rates are low,
yeah,
and you can borrow more money very easily, are you going to borrow more or borrow less?
Borrow more.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
That increases spending.
Is that bad or good?
It depends. Nothing's ever good or bad just all the time, right?
I would think as a normal person without a ton of money, lowering rates sounds productive, and helpful.
Okay, I'm great. I'm agreeing with that one, except for one thing. Home prices go up then. We like that, right? We like home prices go up.
They're hand in hand? Oh, you're saying home prices do go up, you're saying.
No, the home prices go up when interest rates go lower. Well, folks, we had that in 2005 and 6. Who here liked what happened in 08 and 09?
Go ahead, Mo.
Not only that, is if you think you can borrow more money, you're going to borrow more money, maybe more money than you can afford at lower rates, putting yourself in
But then
more
you blame
debt.
Then you blame the bankers.
The bank. You're going to blame the bank. Right now, we have the most debt per person in this country than ever.
Can I make another comment? In early 2000s, the Democrats accused Bush of hating minorities by not making it easy for them to borrow money. Fast forward to 2008 and 2009, everybody blamed Bush for allowing rates to be so low and lending to be so that allowed so many people who were poorer to borrow more than they could. It's like so which one is it, guys?
It's not a one-way street. We have to go both ways.
Do we want to let everybody and their son borrow money for any reason whatsoever, or do we want to there's a certain thing we have to sit there and say it's okay to not own a home. Mm-hmm. This whole American dream about owning a home, I don't get why we're so. I get it because stats say that a wealthy country is one in which everybody owns the home. Okay, it's correlated. Doesn't mean it's caused by that, right? It's just. Everybody feels like you have to have a college education. You have to own a home. You have to do this. Why? Look, everybody, 20 years ago, the idea of saying you shouldn't go borrow as much as you can to go to college. We didn't worry about student debt.
No, not at all.
Now, all of a sudden, everybody's worried about student debt. It's like, as Warren Buffett always says, a bubble occurs on a rational foundation. Oh, owning a home is a good idea. Great, let's make it easier to own a home. Everybody owns a home. Everybody's easy to borrow. All of a sudden, we have a bubble. All of a sudden, we have an explosion, and people lose jobs, people lose houses, etc.
Because they have so much debt that they can't pay back.
Education's so important. Go borrow money to go to college. All of a sudden, it's borrow any amount of money you can to go to college.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you have too much student debt. Now we have Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren saying you shouldn't have to, or no, Bernie Sanders and AOC saying you shouldn't have to pay back your loans. Going to college, getting a college degree shouldn't be a crime.
It's a right.
Yeah, which is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
It's not a right.
No.
I think if you watch back on YouTube, you don't look as flattering when you lean back.
I'm sorry.
You can do it. I'm just like, I think later you'll be like, man, my belly's hanging
Hey,
out.
folks, I'm losing weight right now.
You look stunning.
I don't know, it's stunning, but I'm 7 pounds away from looking stunning.
Good for you.
Killing
Of course, Mo is just handsome, chiseled. Look
So
at
it's funny. Last night he was at my house picking up dinner, and he
He was
goes
at your house too?
at like 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
He's a little whore over here going on.
He's at my house.
So he was telling me, he's like, Paul, you look.
I just want friends.
He's like, you're lean, and I said, I don't look as lean as you look, though. He's like, yeah, true. And that's what I was like, okay, I need to get a little more lean.
How old are you?
31.
Yeah. We'll get him a couple kids that look just like me.
That's not going to happen.
Kids are looking like me.
Kids.
Or looking like you.
How dare you?
You've always looked like you, though.
I have.
Yeah.
I weighed like 2 pounds less than this as a sophomore in high school.
You also played football
Yeah.
in college and stuff.
I need to get leaner for the tennis. You know, tennis. I need to get lean for tennis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we digress. So wait, Mo, what else did you want to ask Paul? Because I remember we were talking.
That was my only question that I had for Paul.
What time did you guys hang out last night?
9.
Yeah, 8 or 9 o'clock. We were going to watch the game.
I went after the gym.
Huh?
I went over there after the gym.
He was advising I put some of my money. Well,
So
go ahead.
let me tell you.
Sure.
I was so today. What's today's date? 30th, 29th. So on last Friday, I went to about 90% cash, and it's fearful because I'm afraid because of all this stuff that we're talking about.
Why are you shaking your head?
Go ahead, Mo. I'll answer later.
Okay.
I'm worried about. This is the fifth time now that we're getting up to these highs in the stock market, and we're testing them. There's no volume.
Is it the fifth time?
It's a fifth. There's so we just keep having. So it's a 5 top
Silly.
now. It's silly.
It's silly.
We have the Federal Reserve putting money in like this, just putting easing into the market. Stock buybacks have slowed because corporations are basically tapped out to buy their own share. They've dropped 18% in the past 12 months. That means that they're tapped out. They don't have any more cash to buy their own shares.
But they have the debt that they took on in order to buy those shares.
And they have so much. There's so much corporate debt. It's the highest.
Why? Because of low interest rates.
Exactly right. Because they just keep borrowing
What
and
are you
borrowing
saying
and borrowing.
right now?
So it's just a vicious,
Corporate debt.
vicious
It's
cycle.
like personal debt, but for the company.
It's for the company.
And they just borrowed
Companies like
Apple,
Apple.
Microsoft, anybody who's out there borrowing. Why? Because rates used to be 10 years ago, a 5-year rate was 5.5%, 6%.
so they're borrowing at 2%, hoping to make more money on it.
Yeah.
So they're taking their own money. They'll buy their own shares, and instead of taking that money to go do something, they'll just borrow the money because it's so cheap to borrow.
And they'll do things like, hey, we're paying a 3% dividend. If we borrow the money at 2%, we're saving ourselves a 3% dividend.
Mm-hmm.
So we save that money. And stocks are going up. So it's an easy way. I think buybacks are great if you're buying undervalued shares. So think about it. If you have money on the side, go ahead.
No,
Mo.
go ahead.
If you have money on the sideline and your company is selling for far below what it would normally sell for, buy your shares. You're giving your investors a good thing. What happens, though, is buybacks happen when stocks are really high because of 2 reasons. One, everybody loves the stock, so everybody euphorically goes, we should own more of our stock. And 2, it's a good way to artificially inflate your stock price. When you take shares off the market, when you buy your shares back, it makes that same, let's put an example. Let's say your company makes $1 million a year and has 1 million shares outstanding. That's $1 per share.
Yeah.
If you buy half the shares off the market, you're still making $1 million a year, but now you have 500,000 shares. Now you're making $2 a share. What happens to your stock price? It doubles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good way to artificially inflate your stock price. It's still making the same amount of
How
money.
is this legal?
Oh, it's perfectly legal.
It was not legal prior to like 1986.
Come on.
It wasn't. Yeah, stock buybacks were not legal back then.
I'm going to go ahead and say
Definitely were not.
Warren Buffett, I'm reading his annual reports and he talks about it in the early 80s, and
Really?
late 70s. Talks about stock
Time
buybacks
out.
and how
I don't know if I've ever heard that term stock Buyback.
So they just buy back their own stock.
Prior to 1982, the SEC rule changed. Buybacks were illegal, as they were seen as a form of stock price manipulation.
The bulk I'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
Well, it's 82, and I was reading the 83 or 84 one, but still.
Yeah. So.
Anything on the Tesla thing?
It's back up 322.
Yeah, something's
Something's
weird.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's.
So Mo's going all cash. Mo's all cash.
I'm not all cash. I'm gonna have my portion where I trade every day, and not day to day, but a little bit long term. But the majority of it, I'm sitting and waiting because I don't have a good feeling about where things are going.
YOLO.
I don't think that they can prop this market up for the next.
Listen, we're in a 10-year bear market right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, bull market.
Bull market.
10-year bull market. We didn't even. It's insane. It's insane.
Seth asked me an interesting question last night. He said, "What if you're wrong, and what if it just keeps going?" I said, "That's entirely possible." He said, "Why would they stop borrowing? Why would they?
When is that ever? There's always a capitulation point.
There has to be a capitulation point.
When has it ever happened where things go on forever? We have cycles. Cycles. You know, the whole two things for sure in life are death, taxes, and I'm going to say cycles. There's three things that are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, cycles.
History repeats itself. It's just a matter of when.
Well, history rhymes. History doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it rhymes.
I'm going to use that one.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with the election year next year and the volatility of?
I believe so. I mean, it could not, but you have the biggest cheerleader ever out there just pushing and pushing and pushing and tweeting and tweeting and tweeting. Hey.
Mo made a good point today. He was looking at Donald Trump memes, animated GIFs on text. He goes, there's literally one for every ridiculous thing you can possibly say.
What did I say? Oh, I sent you.
I'm really rich.
I sent him a Venmo, and he texted me, and he said, "Thanks, I'm rich." And I sent back, "I'm really rich." This morning, he texted me something. What did you? I'll just look.
I mean, these memes are like real statements.
1,000%.
Last night, Seth texted. I said, "Seth, I'm on my way over." He texted me back, "Boom," and I sent a picture of GIF of Trump going, "Boom, boom, boom, boom." There's something crazy always.
Doesn't Seth have a nice house?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice.
It's probably one of those houses that I couldn't afford. I told Mo.
Can you not afford it?
Well, I mean, the people who assisted me in getting the house most likely didn't care if I could or couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
There wasn't much.
that's what happened 10 years ago.
Checking and balancing.
Either way, I think you can afford the house.
I think so too.
Because your previous payment, we've talked about the numbers. And
Yeah.
Either way, I don't think it's a good idea for Mo to go to all cash. You know, you said to me, "Why are you?" I have 15 businesses. I can.
Why do you go to a lot of cash?
But I'll tell you what. I was just venting to Lisa and Mikey last night, going, "God, this has been 4 or 5 years of me just being completely wrong."
Yeah.
And going. Now you know me. I don't think I'm wrong. I just think it's taking a long time to come to fruition. And looking at going like, Jesus H Christ, like at what point?
So I know that
Jesus H Christ.
I can make what I was making without investing all of it.
Oh, there you go.
So I looked at it saying, okay, I'm not just gonna make no money and sit in cash and put my money in treasuries and get 1.5% per year or something.
Is that what it is now?
It's like 1.73 or something. But so that was my reasoning. I know that with whatever percentage I'm using, I can make the same income and be fine. The longer term investments, like putting money into dividend stocks and letting them grow this and that stuff, that's what worries me. Because between October and December of 2018, it showed that with that 19.9% pullback, that those stocks with quote unquote good balance sheets and everything pulled back just the same as every other stock on the market. So they're just as susceptible as the other ones, which I'm not willing to do.
1.64% is what the 90-day Treasury is paying right now.
It's getting worse by the day.
Well, when they're lowering rates, that's what's going to happen.
It's going to get worse tomorrow.
Oh, these people. These people. You know, either way.
Open the app.
But as I always tell you, it's hard for me to do anything that I don't feel comfortable with. If I don't understand it, I don't feel comfortable with it, I just don't do it. Everybody else has the FOMO. You know, Howard Marks is a 70-some-year-old billionaire, and he talks about FOMO. FOMO is like a kid term. He talks about FOMO in this market. It's like this market is driven by FOMO, fear of missing out. Everyone wants in because they're fearful of if it goes up 10%, I just lost 10%. Me, I just cry. Can we add that to the, is that what it is? Is that what we're doing?
Here, look at this. Oh, look at this.
We'll get to it.
Okay. But I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, we talk about, go ahead, Mo.
The thing that has made me, it wasn't. Okay.
Hold on a minute.
Okay.
See if this works.
Do you know how to work this thing, Seth?
You have to click on the video.
And the Shanghai, China factory.
Give us a breakdown of what you think the numbers look like.
Well, first is they're profitable, and that's one of the big things everybody's looking for. Second is
This is
they
Tesla.
open the Shanghai, China factory, which opens to them the world's largest car market and also the largest electric car market, because China has mandated they want to be 100% electric by 2030, which is not that far off. And they still increase production, and even though they missed their goal of, I think, 100,000 cars, they still came pretty close, in my view. That was a great quarter for them.
Is it a concern that revenue, though, is slowing? Does that say something about where Tesla's growth can come from in the future?
Well, I don't think it's slowing as much as the mix is now shifting more toward the 3, which is a lower priced car than the S.
This,
Can you pause this?
yeah,
Is
because
this about
go
this
ahead.
one?
No, this is a week old. Sorry, Mo.
They haven't done
Why
this
would
yet.
this video be attached to that thing?
I don't know.
The other thing I don't understand about Tesla, why would you arbitrarily go out and say, yeah, we're going to deliver 100,000 cars? Why don't you be realistic and say, we're going to donate 85,000 cars, so we actually hit our
You know
mark?
why? You know what the thing is? That's his personality.
He's crazy.
He just believes. It's just like, I mean, he literally is Trump.
He's Trump.
He doesn't. He wants to say whatever. He just believes every single thing he says.
Mm-hmm.
He is Trump.
If he would just tone those numbers down and be realistic, a little bit realistic, they would be better off.
But who does that?
The consumer sentiment would be better for them.
Yeah, it's just bad news.
Maybe
after
their
bad
stock
news.
wouldn't be that volatile. I don't know.
Well, he had good news. I mean, he made money a couple times. I mean, that is good. But I'm not understanding this whole 39% drop thing. We got to figure this out.
Plus, the stock is down $7 right now. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, 2%.
Doesn't make sense.
Look at your cute little notebook over here, Mo.
Look at what it says.
World domination notes.
Is that a Trump notebook?
I was in Walgreens the other day. My dad was picking up a prescription when I was in Florida. I walked up. I was like, Dad, you need to buy me this.
So
I want to say one more thing. Why I went to cash. It wasn't entirely because of Paul. Paul maybe had 5% to do with it.
I didn't even tell you to do it.
No, you didn't. It's just the idea that we talk about it all the time. He told me not to do it.
yeah, you had mentioned that Paul's been obviously over conservative the last few years, and now you're shaking his head when he moves to a conservative state. So who?
But Paul also sees it as he has 15 business. He doesn't need to be in the market,
I can be wrong for a long period of time
Yes,
and
he
still
can,
grow
and
my
be
net
fine.
worth.
and it's proven. So the reason that the reason I've done this is because we're at this 5 top. I have seen
Yeah,
my
the 5
accounts.
top's incredible.
I have seen my accounts go down and back up and down and back up, and it's annoying. And I'm like, where are we getting? I'm at the top right now. I'm at 27,000 and 3,000 on the S&P. 27 on the Dow, 3,000 S&P. I'm done. 11
months ago, we were 2,300 in the S&P.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that?
We
got
it.
as low as 2,340 or something like that in the S&P in December of 2018.
And I look at that saying, I've made a lot of money over the past decade, whatever. I'm at the tops. I don't see us breaking through these tops. This is the 5th time we're trying this level.
By the way,
how big is your fund that you're managing? Can you
oh,
say?
here we go.
I'm not going to say
You're not
that.
allowed?
No.
Okay, why is that? Tell me why then.
I just don't want to tell you.
It's a lot of personal money.
Yeah.
Oh, it's personal.
Yeah.
A lot of it's personal.
Yeah.
Oh, I
stuff.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
What's it matter though?
Yeah, what does it matter?
Well, it really doesn't matter, but
Oh, you think you'd be judged if it's a lot?
Of course you would be.
absolutely.
Well, I guess. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
There must be a lot.
Mo is rich as fuck.
Yep.
No. I'm just like I thought you'd want to pad your stats a bit to be like I'm in charge of this.
Mo's
amount.
Mo's trying to decide which new Range Rover to buy is how rich he is. This is dilemmas.
Stop.
This is the dilemmas that Mo has.
These are Mo problems.
I'm buying a used Range Rover. Mo's like, yeah, I can't do it. Like, really? He's like, yeah, I can't do it.
Oh my God.
Paul and I were texting about this at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm like,
His celebrity crush is Danica Patrick.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Definitely.
awful.
Oh, really?
Awful.
Oh, you guys are so wrong.
Seth, what do you think?
I'm not. Listen.
Seth has been blown away by a lot of things about me in the past 12 hours.
He listens to country music.
I didn't know that.
Oh, there's so much.
I haven't seen any
Listen.
movies.
Oh God.
Paul
Hasn't seen any movies.
Oh, bullshit.
No,
I've
he's
seen a lot of good
you
movies.
guys go back and forth quoting movies all the time.
Because of Ghostbusters. I've never seen Ghostbusters,
never seen
and
Ghostbusters.
he's like,
This
thinks,
motherfucker hadn't seen Gladiator.
I didn't like Gladiator. Period.
I'm not into action movies.
You were wincing at the battle scenes. Regardless,
First off, who's your celebrity crush, Seth?
I have to think about it for a minute. But I'm dead set. I've just never heard someone say that Danica Patrick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always been Danica.
Danica?
She retired from racing, and I stopped watching racing.
You realize you could have bought that Aaron Rodgers Range Rover, and she's been in the.
So the best part about that.
Did you know about this?
So this is a funny story. I was
Tell him.
looking at this Range Rover. It was in Wisconsin, and it happened to be Aaron Rodgers. So I was going to buy it.
The dealership was selling Aaron Rodgers Range Rover.
That's
it
right.
wasn't. He wasn't
It
dealing
wasn't-
with Aaron
yeah, yeah.
Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers picked up the phone like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
I'd
So
like
he-
to buy a Range Rover.
So we couldn't land on a price that I wanted to pay. So I called my mom and I was like, "Mom, this is it." And she's like, "You know what? Danica has a lot of dogs. You might want to check the interior of that thing." I was like, "That's a pretty cool statement."
I told you she might have. Listen, Paul. I have this strange sixth sense. I feel like there's some people out there, and for no reason at all, my mind tells me they probably smell funny. And Danica Patrick's is one of them.
This is what he was trying to explain to me on the phone yesterday. He goes,
I don't know why.
he goes, Jennifer Lawrence, beautiful, probably smells
I
weird.
love Jennifer Lawrence.
So let's hear who your celebrity crush is.
Yeah, I want to know.
I'm interested in this.
I really want to
Think
know.
about it. I think mine's one of two people. Celia Ward.
Don't know her.
I don't know who that is.
Or him.
She's older.
Ooh.
Minka Kelly.
Yeah, I like that.
Minka Kelly is freaking incredible.
Yeah.
Minka Kelly.
Yeah, look her up.
Who is this woman?
She used to date Derek Jeter.
What does she do?
She was on Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, she, looks,
Oh, the Layla or something.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
she looks like a beautiful gal.
Looks like a beautiful gal.
I do like watching Jennifer Lawrence in like
See, I'm not a huge fan of Jennifer
any
Lawrence.
movie. Well, you haven't seen some of the movies that she's
Oh,
been
that
in.
must mean that must mean I have no idea.
I'm not even talking like the what's the one where she's mocking killer.
Hunger Games?
Yeah, Hunger Games mocking.
I never saw that
Yeah, it's a kids movie, whatever. But
because I'm not into Magic the
but I
Gathering.
like some of her other movies.
I saw all of his cards last night.
Did you show him the box?
Mm-hmm.
on the box. Yeah,
He was a little concerned about the box.
yeah. I started shaking
Something
the
was
box
shaking
there.
around in there.
and
He was like, I might have got swindled.
there's no way, but maybe there's a way.
What was the rating of the guy on eBay?
I met him in person.
Oh, you know him in person.
okay.
He had a pretty good story. He had pictures of other boxes, so it'd be really difficult to swindle. It'd be really difficult to fake that. I mean, really difficult. So if he did, God bless him.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, that house, Paul. We got to go look at this house in Canton for $8,000.
Oh, that's right.
yeah. There's a house for sale.
This is one you were telling me about last night?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
also telling him about the business I'm looking to buy.
Yeah.
So is this real?
You need to consult him, not me.
It's getting realer.
Realer?
It's a pretty cool idea.
Okay, but Seth is busy.
That was my point. I said, Seth, is this going to take away from what you're doing?
Paul, you joined on as a consultant
Yeah.
in Ohio when the sun came out, but once the sun goes away in Ohio, I become far less busy.
Oh. because
Incredibly less busy.
Okay.
Like December, 0 photo sessions.
Yes, but however,
January.
we need to focus on a master class for you.
Did I tell you about that?
No.
We're working on that.
Seth would be an incredible master class teacher. Incredible. Can you imagine Seth here teaching you how to make money in photography?
Yes.
We're
He's
going to work on
good.
that too.
I can
We
see you
are.
as a
We
teacher.
are. We got a lot to do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. But then when we have our call later today at 2:00, I'll hear
Oh, no.
Seth say,
Oh, no.
I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm
Where
busy,
do you
I'm busy.
see the stats today, baby?
Really?
Where do you see them stats?
Should we just
Bangarang?
Fingers.
Okay. Well,
good stats today, huh?
oh, the stats.
See, look, whenever we pay attention to something, it's just like my food.
So my creative team, the media group, we meet with Paul every week, and we hired him to be the dad to say, why the hell aren't you working? And it's been a lot of that of late. And so to spite him,
Can you explain your reactions to every single time I go, well, Seth, why isn't this done? Paul, and he starts pacing around the room. Paul, I just can't even see my kids. I can't even see my kids. I can't see my kids.
Well, I am working.
I can't see my kids.
I am currently working too hard.
Whatever that means.
I'm putting a lot of things in front of my family.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan.
We went to Joe Rogan last Saturday. That's a whole nother podcast, bro.
I know, that was good.
That was great. The best story was the one you told me about the lady in the beer line.
Oh, it was. Remember her?
Best story ever.
Lisa, and Beth are up front.
Yeah.
And this lady cuts and goes, "Do you have blah 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 beer?" And the guy goes, "No." And she goes, "Oh." She said, "Oh, wait a second. What was it like?" Oh, for fuck's sake, or something like that. Like, go fuck myself, or something like that. I was just like, well, that was not the proper reaction.
So
what was it? What did I say it was?
I think she goes, "Oh, fuck me."
That's right. That's what it was. She goes, "Oh, fuck me." I was like,
over beer. Yeah. By the way, folks, in this line there were at least 4 other beer vendors within sight. Yeah. The most, I guess, Paul and I went to Joe Rogan. We took our wives, spouses, and the most
wives and spouses, the same thing. I'm not married.
The most alarming thing we saw was when walking in, it looked like we were at a WWE
which blew my mind,
or a Carhartt convention,
Summit Racing convention.
It just wasn't our.
We need to go there and return that stuff.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
It wasn't really the crowd I was expecting. It was definitely a more blue collar crowd, right? And so I just wasn't expecting that. But he did open with, like, for all the women in the room, I'm sorry you're
well, it's funny because Beth said, so we go, and Beth said to Lisa, like, Lisa, we're going to be like the only women there. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. And then he opens up with, for all the women out here, I'm sorry that your boyfriends or husbands
drug you here.
Drug you here.
It was definitely date night for
By
multiple
the way,
guys.
Speaking
like
of which,
groups of 3 guys.
John Dyer told me that his daughter said "wung it" the other day.
Wung it?
Wung it.
That's what I would say.
It's not wung it.
I know it's not, but that's what I would say.
Anyways, go on.
Swung.
But he did apologize to everybody in the crowd. He's like, you ladies, I'm sorry. And
I'm sorry your men brought you here.
And the couple next to me just kept talking.
That's
yours did too?
Yeah.
The couple next to me just started complaining the whole time.
About what?
But all the comedians. Neither of them were funny. Like, they'd say a joke and she'd be like, "Oh, come on, this is so fucking stupid."
Oh my god.
Seriously?
I'm like, why are you here?
Why are you
Oh,
here?
you
Like,
and I
don't
were
you just
laughing
leave?
like crazy.
Oh my God, I was crying.
That first guy was incredible. Andrew
Santino.
Have you listened to him since?
Yeah, he's got a podcast, a couple other shows.
Dude, he's so funny.
Funny guy. All right, thanks for joining us. The take-home message from Mo is print your bank statements because all the money's going away. That is true right now.
Listen, I'm not as dramatic as that, but I do think it's going to be a tough decade.
It is. I think that I
gonna be a
told
tough
Paul I
decade.
think the market's going to capitulate in February or March of 2020. And I think the more cash you have, the more buying power you're going to have. So.
Or magic cards.
Or
Just
magic
letting you
cards.
know.
Yep.
Both are equal. And yeah.
The dollar's going to be worth, I don't know. Okay.
The next decade will be harder than the last decade, people.
I totally agree
And if
with
you look
that
at
statement.
history, when people say like, "Oh, nope," if you look at history, when you have the decade we had in the past based on valuations, you've never had a following decade that was good ever.
Mm-hmm. Especially with all of the stuff that we're talking about.
Ever.
Yep. Agreed.
I wanted to mention this to you because so in closing,
Right.
most of my former Democratic friends over the past decade.
So are they not Democrats anymore? Or are they former friends? You said
sorry.
former Democratic friends.
A lot of the conversations I've had,
Okay.
I think a lot of people would agree that we must overly tax the rich because the rich just keep their money and don't do anything with it. And I probably believe that. But what you're looking at, folks,
As in currently you believe that?
what you're looking at on this show, folks, whether you're on YouTube or just listening in the car. So Paul had this idea that he wanted to share his knowledge. And I had the idea that I want to ask you a bunch of questions from a dummy. So we started a podcast. We employed people to make this whole building. We bought tens of thousands of dollars worth of gear, which new gear, if you're watching on YouTube, we have a new slider that I paid way too much fucking money for, but just sliding around, making awesome
And right
shots,
before this podcast, Seth said to me, "Hey, you want to split a C200?"
which is a $7,000 camera.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, okay, let's talk
But
about this."
you had extra money and you had idea. So now Tim is on the podcast producing. Don Corleone helps us with the podcast.
Yeah, Don.
We hire someone in India to edit these shows because, folks, we're not editing these hours and hours of shows. Of course, you've seen the life that our dear friend Rohan and Shavari have started having because of what
He does better plane flights than I do, that man.
So I talked to him last night. He is now employing 2 or 3 other people.
Wow.
Because his business is taking off.
Yeah.
Because he's getting more clients from all over
This
the world.
actually is making me tingle, Seth, because this is exactly the point.
I mean, if you would have asked me, if I had not met you, I would have thought that way for a very, very long time. Rich people just want all their money to keep it.
And by the way, I still think they're allowed to because they earn the money.
They
If they
earned it.
want to sit there in gold or in cash doing nothing with
What
it,
is wrong
that
with
is
that?
their right.
Yeah.
Well, it just goes to show, like, what. Yeah, again, I have never employed anyone.
And for all you Dems out there, I sent you an article the other day about Hillary Clinton.
I saw that.
Oh, you didn't respond to it.
I don't even know what to say.
Well, here's what I'm going to say.
You've said that they're all liars.
She voted against, and she called it important that we have estate taxes to get rid of meritocracy or whatever she said. Yet her tax returns show
Explain it more. Explain it more.
So she's in favor of an estate tax because we don't want to have money going down for generations and making the same people rich all the time.
So she explains to multiple venues, interviews, and part of her speeches.
We need to have estate
death tax.
But yet, her family is worth $100 million, and she uses the exact same tax loopholes that she says she's against in order to shelter money for her generations to come.
That's absolutely correct.
That is 1,000% hypocrisy.
Yep.
I won't get into the fact that Republicans who are pro-life go and get their kids abortions and all that stuff too. Get it. That's hypocrisy too. But that is such a hypocrisy, and it just drives me up the effing wall that your mom posted something on Facebook yesterday, and I wanted to write...
Dear Sharon.
about Trump owing, and then, of course, our mutual friend who lives down the street from you liked it, about Trump owing all these cities, tax dollars, which to me, fine. He probably does. He's an asshole. No offense, Mo. Sorry. I know you love the guy, and my father out there who loves him. But I look at going, let's call both sides out then. Like, that to me, I don't know what Trump owes money for, but guess what? He owed like a total of like $50,000. The guy's worth $5 billion. He owes 50 grand. Like, I'm sure I owe cities money right now. Not 50 grand, but I'm sure I owe money to cities, right, Tim? We probably have like outstanding invoices to city for like permits or something like that. Okay, we don't, I guess. So it's like, no. He's probably on it so much. Yeah, it's nothing major. But I look at it going, this is a great example of what you bring up, though. It's like we're growing everything, and we're trying to hire people to grow more stuff. Mo's a well-to-do guy. He bought a nice home. He went and spent $50,000 on upgrading it.
Yep.
He went and bought $30,000 or $20,000 worth of furniture. He's going to go put a patio in. These things cost money. They hire people. And people tell me,
I mean, do we even go back to Mexico? You went there on a whim.
Yep.
You bought the house.
Now I own two. I own 2 homes.
You employ a staff of 10 people.
Between the 2 homes, I employ a staff of 2 salespeople here who, by the way, this year will probably make $75,000 or $80,000 each this year.
That's awesome.
They're 2 females who do a phenomenal job. We have Chris, our sales manager. He makes a good wage. We're gonna go rent another home to go rent out. I mean,
This is all from a house that you bought in a tropical place.
yep. And it's in Mexico, and yet we still employ people here for it. Mary manages it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
When the economy was failing in 2009 and 10, I bought 100 houses, rehabbed them all, gave jobs to people who literally were begging for work. So I don't want to hear your crap about, oh, rich people are just greedy. Yeah, that's the whole greed is good idea. I hate that statement. Greed is good. It's not greed. It's just I want to go do things.
And Seth, when this market does pull back, I'm going out and I'm hiring people to help me do what I can do to grow what I can grow bigger.
That's exactly it.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I don't have anybody that works for me now, but when it happens, I'm grabbing people up.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I'm making a libertarian out of you.
For Paul.
By the way, I don't make you libertarian. I said to Lisa the other day,
For Mo.
I go, Seth is a libertarian. She goes, really? I go,
I'm
yes.
Seth. LearnFromUs.com.
He's talking over me.
And YouTube.
Or am I talking over you?
Follow us on YouTube.
I think Seth has libertarian viewpoints.
From what I heard from Seth when you guys first started this podcast to what he says, not even on the podcast, but just day to day when I talk to him, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and by the way,
all you're doing is using some common sense.
But Seth grew up in a very democratic environment.
Right.
Are any of your friends that I've met not Democrats? I thought MJ wouldn't be one.
I don't know. I just haven't in the past surrounded myself with. I just sort of like,
Rob?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
You don't think what? He's Dem?
No, I think he is, yeah.
Really?
I do, yeah. Wow. Most people can't get past the brashness. I think most people are much more simplistic about it. Obama was just what I thought is a really, really nice guy. I'd love to sit and talk. He made me feel great and comfortable. And then just the craziness of Donald Trump.
Well, it's not about the people, though. It's about
I think some people think it's about the
ideology,
people.
yeah.
I know.
I think a lot of people, it's about the people. So
Yeah,
they get behind these rallying points, and they don't actually see that, like, yeah, it's crazy, man. All right.
But that's the reason I hate Trump so much. I'm like, he's alienated people.
He has.
He has made people go to the other side because they think that, well, I don't like Trump, I've got to be a Democrat. It's like, no,
you don't.
You don't. What's your ideology? Because I always tell
ideology.
people, somebody told me, well, I want somebody who can get stuff done. I'm like, Hitler was pretty effective at getting things done. We want to support Hitler?
Yeah.
Well, you can't say that. But I'm sitting there saying, no, let's go sit there and say, listen, that's why I didn't vote in 2016. I'm like, I don't like Trump. He's terrible. I definitely think Hillary Clinton is one of the most awful human beings in the world. I'm not going to vote for either side. I'm just not going to vote. And people would say, why don't you vote Libertarian? Because I do believe it's a waste of a vote.
It doesn't.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I usually break that down to, regardless of like the well-informed ideology that you might have, I'm hoping my vote for a Democrat can maybe counteract like one KKK guy. Just one. Like, we're equal.
And you know what? My vote for Trump might have counteracted some socialist, some absolute commie socialist, like AOC or something like that, going,
Or
no,
Elizabeth
this is
Warren.
Or, I just look at it going, oh, by the way, Elizabeth Warren, her tax returns, I give her credit. She released all her tax returns. There's a rich little lady right there. She's made $1 million a year, essentially, for the last 10 or 12 years. And I'm quite sure she takes advantage of every single deduction she's allowed.
But she's not a capitalist.
But she has no problem making her $1 million. Her and her husband make $1 million a year with all the salaries and all the book money and everything like that. And every deduction line that she's allowed, she takes full advantage of it. Leave it blank.
Would you feel different if she made $110,000 a year?
I would feel different if she said, I'm not going to take these deductions.
Yep. That's what it would be.
Hey, you know what?
Make your money. Don't take the deductions.
Great. Good for you. You are saying, oh, I'm just doing what the law asks of me. It's like, well, no, you can sit there and say, I don't take any deductions. I'm going to donate my money. No deductions for the donation.
You have to try to do
You're allowed to do that. You have to write it in there.
Yep.
You can sit there and say, no, I don't want to donate.
Oh.
Right?
Interesting. Of course.
You have to tell your accountant what deductions you have.
Of course.
Don't tell them.
I fight for every one.
Oh, that's interesting.
The miles.
She has no problem telling a million everybody else, like, oh, no, but we have to pay. And my buddy Matt, my chess coach, he said, well, Paul, I don't think that's very hypocritical because she's not going to be able to, with her tax money, give Medicare. I'm like, that's not the point. The point is she's saying that we should all pay more taxes. But yet she's not at least saying, hey, I'm going to pay. This is how much I believe in it, guys. Just like I say, this is how much I believe in this. As my friend Michael Moskal says, I look at their actions, not their words. He talks about that with Warren Buffett. When everybody says Warren Buffett says the market's fine, yet he's sitting on $200 billion in cash or whatever. If the market's fine and good and a good value, why is he sitting on cash?
Wow. All right.
Anyhow.
Great.
I'm fired up.
Thanks for joining us. Learn from us. Check us out on YouTube.
Thanks.
Love you. We're going to do a promo real quick.
Oh. Promo time. Mo, get your thing on.
Oh,
okay.
He doesn't get it.
Oh, he doesn't get it?
Put your headphones back on. We're just going to do like a quick little one banger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which one are we doing it into?
Just this one.
Oh, the one that's moving.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's Seth from Learn From Us. We have a special guest, Mo. We're talking about Tesla and what the hell is going on with their earnings, their third quarter, and their stock prices. Check us out, learnfromus.com, and check us out on YouTube. Learn From Us. Thanks, guys.